All right. So first things first, as always, right? We want to understand what's going on. The daily bias. You can clearly see that market is shorting right here, right? We see that we had all this get swept, all this got swept, and now what is price doing? Price is going to sweep these lows. Like it just absolutely has to sweep those lows. Like price is going to seek that further down. And I can almost assume at this point now today, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday open. Wednesday is going to sweep that, probably have a midweek reversal, right? Especially when Monday came up, made the false move, came all the way down. Like I can just already assume, this is most likely the best outcome for the Wednesday reversal, right? So that's what's going on right now on the daily time frame. If we now go into the 4 hour, right, what can we expect? What happened? Well, what happened today, right? Well, on the 4 hour, we want to have a semi decent look back here. We can see that there was all these equal distant highs up here that semi sort of need to be taken out with this OB as imbalance, right? I can even assume that all this right here is also imbalance. I can get mitigated for price to drop. I'm just going to make that red here so I understand that, right? So that really is the overall view currently. Now, if we have like more of a 3-day look back, we can see what's going on more so intraday, right? We can see that we sweep this 4 hour high, right? Inducing buying to occur here. When in reality, it's actually causing selling to enter the market here, right? We understand that these right here are all previous day lows. We took out these previous day lows right here. Give me 1 second, man. I just need to put something away real quick. All right, so we took out all these previous day lows right here, right? And we're also taking out these lows right around here as well. I am walking up to my room right now, so if you hear like an echo, I apologize. Anyways, do you understand everything that's going on right now on the daily and 4 hour? This is basically the entire high time frame view.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. Something that I was seeing that was a little bit different today, or one thing that we want to recognize is that there was news today, and we're going to talk about how we trade news and what makes it a little bit different for most days. Right. So let's go ahead and just hop in straight to the 1 hour here. The first thing that I saw on the 1 hour is what? 1 hour OB, this imbalance all took out this structure point here, right? So I want to consider, this OB that's kind of resting right around here. I also want to consider the imbalance, right, that it's trading in. Now I want to get all the 1 hour algo structure that is important, right? This is all inducement to all this down here, right? So that would be red, it's previous day internal liquidity, right? We want to come over here, mark in basically the exact same thing, right? And that's pretty much where we got those original EU shorts this morning. And what else do we have? This was at one point the highs of the day. All right, so we want to mark that in as orange, and we can clearly see that these lows of the day constantly expanded out, right, until we came all the way down here. And then we also have one last piece of algo structure, which is right here. So theoretically, our most probable moves are all going to be reactive based off of all of the algo structure we see in here, right? Do we see any OBs now with any sort of imbalance on the 1 hour? I only see one, and that is right here, right? What do we also have to consider? We also have to consider that imbalance, right? So here's that little bit of imbalance that comes in here. Just trying to get that perfect, right? How did I get that imbalance? Let me show you from a little bit of a different perspective. Right here was the block. This candle came in, made that third candle, and it made this wick high up to here, right? So I'm drawing the imbalance from here to here and then dragging that out. As you can see, price clearly had a reaction there, and then basically took out these lows, spiked back up, took out these highs, came all the way back down again, right? In terms of any more OBs, do have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why wouldn't you write here? Why wouldn't you highlight that one?
No, we're putting it in. And then in terms of imbalance, we really don't have much. It'd just be that little sliver right in there. And sometimes we really do mitigate that little tiny thing and it will run. It does happen. Now that we've got everything pretty much situated on the 1 hour, I want to look and see what's going on in the 15-minute now, right? Let's today just focus on London, or well, you trade Asia. So let's go ahead and take a look at Asia actually. First things first, right? We always want to see where our first algo sweep was, right? I don't want to consider 15-minute structure points really until I start to head into New York, right? New York generally has the most volume and volatility. So I'm only really going to be trading 15-minute structure points in New York. Rarely and most likely never are you going to see me trade 15-minute structure points in Asia or London. There's just generally not enough volume and prices moving enough or is expanding enough on the intraday for it to, take out either the highs of the day, lows of the day, previous day lows or highs. Whereas, New York, right, it may not always obtain the volume to sweep algo structure. It may just be 15-minute structure. Anyways, let's come into Asia since you trade Asia, right? And let's find out where price first initiated the algo, where it first started that algo sweep, right? So the first area that we can see where price has either swept liquidity or caused a break of structure is actually right around here, right? We can see that price has come and taken out these lows right here. We can already assume to start buying as soon as we sweep the previous day lows here, right? Now, on top of that, what else can we understand? First, just want to look back, make sure we don't have any OBs we're mitigating. The second thing we can understand is that because we've taken out these lows down here, what do we have right up here? An OB with imbalance, right? We know because that we have taken out previous day lows right here and that we have an unmitigated block up here, we can return back into that unmitigated block. We can also understand that we can react from any of this imbalance area right here, this fair value gap. What are we always looking for every time we come into here or here? We are never instant entering for the most part, right? If we are instant entering, right, just know that you're already at a disadvantage for the most part. We always need to look for this same repetitive pattern to occur within here for it all to validate all at once, right? Now, what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and hop into the 1 minute, see if we could have caught buys here and see if we could have caught sells here, right? Based on the algo. So let's go into the 1 minute. All right, we can see here, this was the first sweep in price on the 1 minute, right? There's no red fractal here, but I know on a smaller time frame, this would be the flip. Now, the only reason why I wouldn't consider this at this point in time, I wouldn't consider any of these buys here, is simply because we came up, it really flipped at that point here. We came and took out a whole nother piece of liquidity, right? Generally speaking, if we flip and don't instant mitigate, this should have been instant mitigation run. This came all the way up, swept a whole nother piece of structure and liquidity for it actually to move right back down, right? So this is not a valid sweep, Koch flip. It also doesn't have the red fractal here. I just know that this is a lesser probable area to look for buys. This would really not be a good setup for me, right? It's really not as methodical as some of the other setups I've seen in the past, right? Let's come all the way back down to here, right? This looks a whole lot better to me. Why? Here's that sweep of that first low. Here we come and we sweep that high, right? We can clearly see that price has swept, had a flip right here, and it immediately came back down to mitigate what? All this, that block. And we also had all this as imbalance. Respectively, where is your higher probable position? That block. You can take this imbalance if you choose to, right? As soon as that candle opens up and dives in, right? But your more probable position, I actually caught this last night. I was trading Asia for a little bit. Your more probable position is really right here, right? Where are we then aiming? On the 5-minute, right? That's where we're first going to initiate our break of structure, right? And or where we're going break even. So as soon as we take out this red fractal that it created after the pop, this right here is where we're going break even, right? And then we absolutely know start taking partials as soon as we get into this area right here. So we're looking at 1 to 7 partials first thing, right? Now when we come and enter into this unmitigated area right in here, we need to look for what? You know, the same exact thing over and over. Sweep, flip, and then run, right? We can clearly see here, we do not have sweep or flip or run. Perhaps on the seconds time frame, people can see this as a sweep, people can see this as a flip, and perhaps, you know, they're taking any of this right here to trade price back down. You can do that. I prefer the 1-minute structure because I know it's going to give me a more, I guess, accurate position, right? So you could start taking short positions right here, going break even as soon as we start breaking other points of liquidity like this, right? So based on the seconds time frame, I know on the seconds time frame there's a fractal here and a fractal here. You can start entering anywhere generally here. You're going break even as soon as we break this low here. Why? Because we're trading the seconds time frame, right? I do not view the second time frame on the seconds time frame. I just know that after this candle forms bearish and this forms bullish, that there is liquidity in there, right? So that we call it that three bar move, right? This is a 3-bar move. Anyways, we short, we go break even around here. Who knows where we're looking to target? Nonetheless, we're going to break even at some point, right? But you can understand and see how we could have tried to take shorts based off of everything here, right? Now,
Yeah.
price is still continuing higher. As soon as we break these highs here, what can we start looking for again? That same motion, that sweep, change of character, and then start looking for that sell-off in this OB here, right? So let's do it. We see this sweep. We see this as the flip, right? What do we know? Right? We know we can take this as one of our areas. All right, we know we can take all this as another. Move that across. We could have been taking entries into here and entries into here. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering, why am I letting it, like, why am I taking this and both this after price has taken some time to move for quite a while now? That's because we're not in a sweep. We're in an OB. Right? When we're in an OB, it's okay to drag this out across a little bit, right? Especially when this has not been mitigated and this has not been mitigated. These are unmitigated blocks, right? So I'm okay, you know, with taking a first position generally somewhere around here with stops right here. We're going break even. Let's look at the 5-minute. We're going break even as soon as we break this fractal, right? We're already at 1 to 2.5. It looks like we hit 1 to 3. We could have taken partials here at 1 to 3 or this next liquidity sweep, which would have been a 1.3.3. Right, and then we're also taking that other position up here. So it actually looks like we would have taken partials and broke even on that position. And then over here, it looks like we're doing fairly well over here as well, right? So now we want to take this all the way down to where? That next liquidity point, algo structure point here, right? As soon as we take out, and that's an easy 1 to 10, as soon as we take out this liquidity point here, what do we know? Right, 50% chance of continuations or reversals. Well, price comes all the way up here, right? It's not giving us anything really until we sweep these lows here. It doesn't look like we have any sort of sweep, change of character, or anything going on here, or really that I can see of. Perhaps this is the sweep and this is the change of character, but you know, I really can't tell. Why do I say that? Because every candle is a range, right? This candle is the candle low, candle high, but again, it's really not as powerful as viewing the fractals as a whole, right? right? Fractals are really going to confirm all that. Come all the way back down to here, right? What do we see? We have a fractal sweep here, right? And then if we put our eyes back up, we see that there's no red fractal. I am going to assume that this right here is actually the flip. Why? Because there's clearly an imbalance here. You know, this candle right here has clearly showed that this was the high to make this low, and then this low got swept, right? So I'm going to take this as the sweep. This is definitely high enough to be that change of character, right? And do we have any sort of imbalances, right? Yes, I see this, and I see this, right? So it's very likely that we would have taken positions into here and SL'd, right? Very likely that we would have SL'd somewhere around that area there, but we would have regained everything off of this long position here. Where are we really targeting? This imbalance, right? Because that's where we know price can react to go short based on what? The 15-minute. How do I know that? If we go back out to the 15-minute, right? This was an hourly OB, right? And this was the imbalance involved with it. Right here, we know we swept lows of the day, right? We also swept previous day lows. We're now in this imbalance that then turns into this OB. We're now in high probability reversal area right here, right? And we came all the way into the 1 minute to find that sweep flip confirmation, right? Sweep flip confirmation here. So buys, sells to break even into sells, right? Back into buys at SL, back into buys that didn't SL, hit TP right here. Again, are we going to instant entry right here on the imbalance? No, we're going to look for confirmation. Now on the seconds time frame, you can't assume this, right? Every candle is a range, right? This candle swept. Here's that change of character. Perhaps you get to grab something into here to mitigate to go further down. Does it meet my 1 minute criteria? No, right? So I'm just simply not going to take anything right here based on the 1 minute. Let's move all the way over, right? We still need to find some sort of way to go short, right? That means we need to sweep this candle high right here, right? To restart that progress again, right? So here we would have maxed out, looks like at around a 1-to-6 ratio. Right now we're trading around London. This would have been that nice move in London. I would not have found buys anywhere here. It's just not possible. Let's come back, all right? This I can clearly see has some sort of sweep and flip. It's a little bit more, I guess, methodical than using each candle as a range and whatnot. But look, this candle right here clearly gets swept, right? This high makes this low right here, right? I do not see any clear imbalance besides what is left at the top here, right? The rest of these candles have not been mitigated yet. All of this has all been mitigated, right? I have no reason to take anything here, right? Really the only place to be looking is right there. And that's where we could have hopped in shorts for EU. Right, it looks like this was around 6:30 a.m. So I wouldn't be trading still. Now, what did Raymond catch today? Everybody saw Raymond catch this today. So what Raymond caught, because Raymond was on the seconds time frame, he saw the sweep of these lows, right? In reality, let's talk about news. News opened up at 8:30 a.m. right here, right? Oops. He was looking at the seconds time frame and he saw this as a sweep. As soon as we swept, he saw this as that change of character. I know that sounds ridiculous, but when you start seeing wicks like this on the 1 minute, right, you want to see that sweep, break a structure. Once it flips, you can start entering into that position. I did not get in to EU buys today, right? I know Raymond did. I just do not see really how. Personally, it doesn't really fit my criteria. It's not super methodical, right? Like I generally like to stick to the 1 minute framework. Really, the only trends that really stuck to my 1 minute framework was this, these two. That was really it. Not even this one stuck to my 1 minute framework, right? I mean, we still had a sweep, some sort of flip, there was no fractal. We come over here, we have a sweep and a flip, but this had no fractal, this had no fractal, right? That's second micro analysis like framework. Best trade of the day, in which I fucked up on, unfortunately, is after the news came out, all these buys happened. 1 minute framework was perfect here, right? Why was a 1 minute framework perfect? Here we came and induced highs of the day, then previous day liquidity, right? Clearly swept, and then we did what? Change character. What did I do? I took this, the internal fractals, right? We can do one or two things here, right? We can either break and retest the fractals and continue down, or break, sweep the fractal, then head back down, right? ISL'd on that first position, ended up not taking this second position. I didn't think it was going to work out. My psychology got the best of me. It even happens to me sometimes, but yes, I did see some of you take this position, right? There's some students that took this today, which was great. And do you understand why I'm taking this top part here?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Just making sure. So yeah, this melted all the way down. So what I know about news is this. I'll tell you this about news. For one, the mitigations are very likely to happen and are immediate. Two, wherever news entries came in, we're likely to take out. We can target all the way down where news started to come in, right? We're already looking at around a 1 to 7. That's actually also where the new lows of the days are, right? And then we can then target this piece of algo structure down here, right? And can you see how the market is just moving? It's accumulating, manipulating, distribution. All this is accumulation, manipulation, distribution.
Yeah. Super clear.
Cool. Yeah, this trades all the way down to here. Here's all those smart money traps come in right here. So a lot of people are probably wondering, there's an OB right here. We took out all these highs. Can we consider anything in here to go long? Yes. However, this was a news candle, right? Remember I said news candles can get taken out very easily, right? There are rule breakers. This is one of those rule breakers. Because we had this news candle come and inject all this volume, I knew that this news candle can get swept and taken out. That's exactly what happened here, right? Here it's faking out everybody trying to go long. That is that smart money trap. How do I know this? It really did give a pretty good setup, right? We had the sweep. Let me just do it like I normally do. We had the sweep. We had that change of character. We had these inside fractals that it clearly came to come mitigate. We could have had, the sweep down here too before entering, but yes, we could have entered buys into here theoretically on a normal day where there wasn't news. You could have entered buys regardless if you truly wanted to. And very likely, as price is up to here at this point, you would have moved stops to break even. We would have broken even on that trade most likely. Right, come down all the way to here. Finally, we sweep previous day lows. Right, here we get a sweep, flip, and it looks like this one just straight up SLs. Happens. All right, we're also trading after lunchtime, so you kind of expect that to happen. But in reality, best trades I saw today, this one, all right, these two, and this one. There were 4 prime trades that met that 1 minute criteria. As you can see, they all practically won. These trades, this trade down here are a little bit riskier, a little harder to identify and obtain, but are possible. Doesn't mean you have to take them, no, but they're possible. They're there. Yeah, that was pretty much a U today. I mean, it's the same setup over and over, right? If we come over to here, how does it all work? Say we're in a range, right? Price is moving in that range, and all of a sudden we manipulate that range. What can we expect during the manipulation phase? It's starting to distribute, right? Perhaps we break this level down here, and this creates an OB. right? This OB validates once we take out this bottom layer, right? Price needs to come up, induce, create some liquidity, come back in, right? We need to see this pattern form, right? Sweep, change of character on those micro time frames, right? Seconds, minutes, 5 minutes, something like that around here. So we have that. We can take it all the way back down. Once we induce the structure point, right, we need to look for some sort of reversal. Take it back up. Let's perhaps say that this now creates order flow, a new OB. Price comes back in, same exact thing, right? Then we take it back down, right? And that's the whole point of algo structure, right? We need to first identify where that range is oh my God, where that range is starting, right? This is basically what is happening literally here in Asia, right? Here's that first accumulation, right? We come and distribute, right? We did have that sweep here. It's just kind of have to train your eyes to see that there's that sweep and there's that main break of structure that we're looking for to start the process. As you can see, that OB was created, right? We clearly made that pattern on the bottom to trade up. And then we clearly made that pattern to trade all the way back down to this piece of algo structure here, right? Then we made that pattern again to trade it back up. And we made that pattern again to trade it back down. On the seconds time frame, we could have traded it back up, right? Now what's happening is this all becomes the accumulation based on session timings, right? And then we then manipulate these highs, all right, create that same fucking pattern to move price all the way back down. And I'm now sure there's some OBs in here, something higher time frame where this can trade back up and then trade all the way back down. So that same repetitive algorithmic structure, right? So hopefully like this session helped out a little bit more, right? I really wanted to make this as well for like a lot of other people because I know that some of the questions you have may help answer other people's questions. And like that's just basically the basis of algorithmic trading from one point to another, right? There's really no need to overcomplicate. Look, everything met characteristics as they were supposed to. So what was the biggest driver? I always forget to mention this in the intraday, but we can't forget our external and high time frame bias, right? This isn't really, I mean, I guess you can consider this the high time frame bias, even though we swept these lows and these lows. Why? Because if we really think about it, this low to this high is the range, right? And we can clearly see that this is the last sweep of that range. It's like right here, right? Inducing buying to occur here and initiating sellers back into the market. When we're taking out these internal daily lows, it's really just more validation to this block here to continue price back down. That's why I really think price is going to come seek these lows and pop back up. If we also look a little bit more into the 4 hour, we can also see that our main bias again is what? Short, right? We have a double short perspective, right? If we come all the way back in to the intraday, right, what happens? We see that price here is clearly showing that it wants to pop off this OB. It did. Into algo structure liquidity where we know we can take liquidity here and respect the overall direction again, right? Now we just have to read the weekly cycle and understand, okay, hold on. There's daily lows sitting all the way down here, right? Perhaps, let's go 15-minute, right? Because we've taken out these lows right here, we know that we can mitigate any of this right here in Asia, make that pattern come and take out these lows and then reset the process again. Right? That's kind of what we're looking for coming into Asia. Now we could also trap volume here. If we trap volume, come into this POI. Just wait for the confirmation, right? And then go. You just got to be reactive. We can't always, I'm never going to be 100% right on my forecasts or predictions. It's impossible. No one can just forecast a market like that unless they're using some crazy arbitrary bot or some high frequency like bot that can guess every move a split of a second. Yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown on this. Hopefully you can see how I really used everything to my advantage from the high time frame starting out in the daily, right? Going into the 4 hour, going into the 1 hour, right? Understanding the bias on here, looking at all the liquidity points on the hourly, right? Moving my way into the 15-minute. Now, I could have used some of the 15-minute stuff here to my advantage, right? Such as maybe even scaling into this unmitigated OB like so here, and you could have done that. Let's see. Yeah, I actually saw some people getting this today, right? So we come into this unmitigated OB, wait for confirmation, sweep, change a character. This was the OB. All this down here was imbalance. All we did was mitigate that imbalance, right? So we could have popped in more trades here, right? So all you have to do is use the criteria from a fractal perspective, and you can theoretically catch moves anywhere, right? All of this makes sense today, man?
No, yeah, perfect. Perfect. Nice recap.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, is there anything else you want me to go over individually for you as well?
No, I think I'm good with today.
I'm gonna go ahead and